Let me just give a few tips on using the editor. I think that if you do use it to the fullest, it will help out a bit. At the same time, though, it's definitely in beta. There's lots of bugs. It's not super great overall, but I think it is good enough that you can still do some cool stuff with it. All right, that's especially true with the Windows editions. I think the Mac OS edition is better, but even still, on the Mac, lots of improvements to be made. That's one of the first updates I plan on doing. All right, but anyways, so with the editor, we have three main sections. So this bottom right is the timeline. For now, all the timeline does is it allows us to scroll to different points, and then we can press play, do whatever. Okay, and then we have the viewport, which is just a live preview of what we currently have. And then we actually have the editor where we specify things. There's also the media tab, but this is for now only just used if we have images. Okay, so one thing that's really important is that if we press the period key, then we're gonna go one slide forward. And the way you can remember that is the period key is right below the greater than symbol, and the greater than symbol kind of looks like pointing to the right. And likewise, if we press the comma, we can go one slide backward. If you pressed shift in the period or we press greater than symbol, we'll go all the way to the end of the scene. And if we press shift and less than symbol, we'll go all the way to the beginning. So that's very convenient. Oh, and then of course we can press play to actually play. But definitely the period and comma are super useful, so remember those. Okay, yeah, viewport is relatively simple. Just one thing to note though is that some stuff extends past here. Some stuff can extend past the main content. So let's see, 4.1. Yeah, so we can have some stuff extend past the main frame. This stuff will not be included once you actually do the export, but it is somewhat helpful in the sense that you can see stuff that's slightly going off screen to help you debug or whatever you need to do. Okay, the actual editor is divided into a series of slides. Again, this might be something I changed just for performance reasons, but each slide is just its own text box. We can create a new slide with a plus or delete it. One note about deleting is that that's currently undoable, so be careful about that. Okay, and then for the most part, the really thing that I wanted to have for the editor is that for functors, it would autocomplete the arguments. And even if you change that, so it is pretty good about doing that. But as a consequence, some stuff does get a bit buggy. So in particular, if you want to do indent, you'll instead of doing the regular tab, you'll have to do command and right square bracket or left square bracket. And on Windows, it should be control with the same keys. Okay, and last thing that's somewhat different from a native experience is that if you press tab, it'll go to the next field, which is essentially this next line, but we won't highlight functor arguments. So this is also pretty convenient. As of now, there's not really syntax completion syntax highlighting or auto completion. That might be something that's in the future, but again, for now, more or less just fully white or fully black. All right, we already talked about functor arguments in the last one, so I'll skip that. Okay, the final point I want to make is how can we actually export, or how can we do slideshows? So to go into presentation mode, that's how you want to do slideshows. It'll be Control F, and that's true on both Mac and Windows. On both Mac and Windows, it's going to be Control F. Oh, and then the other thing is that in presentation mode, whenever you press space, it'll go one slide, versus in normal mode, when I press space, it'll go to the end. Okay, now what if we actually want to export? If we want to export, then just press the export looking icon and then follow through with the steps. It should be relatively straightforward. For now, you can only export an MP4. Maybe I'll change that in the future.